Hello and welcome, and on your screen now is one of the latest cars added to Gran Turismo 7. Yes, this cloud of smoke is the BMW M2 Competition, and in today's video I am going to explain to you why this is the best M car in the game. Now, performance wise, this does not have the most power out of all the M cars. I mean, for what it is stock, it carries a decent amount of speed. Coming up to the end of the straight, we are doing just over 200 kilometers per hour. So no, this is not a record-breaking car, but where it lacks on the straightaway, it makes up tenfold in the corners. This car has such a good driving sensation when going through the corners, because with the car not being that overly powered, it allows you to push the car as hard as possible through the corners. Now the car does suffer with a tad bit of understeer, but it's hardly noticeable when the car just goes fully sideways around the corner, and honestly that puts a big smile on your face. This car is incredibly easy to control. I mean, this is a standard vehicle and you can throw it around a corner and come out the other end unscathed. Now personally, I like vehicles that have slightly less power and is actually controllable and easy to take around corners than a vehicle that has over 1000 brake horsepower and is just so much trouble to drive. The handling of the BMW M2 Competition actually reminds me a lot of the Porsche Cayman GT4, and when I reviewed that car, I honestly fell in love with it. This is one of those vehicles that you can get behind the wheel of, spend less than 5 minutes and fall madly in love with, and that is exactly what happened. And this is with the car just being standard. So with the car being upgraded, it can only get better. But let's say you aren't happy with the standard power. Once you start upgrading it and you put on every possible part to increase the car's performance, you're looking at about spending over 200,000 credits. Now that does seem like a lot, but if you keep in mind that the car only costs 91,000, it's not actually that bad, because there are cars that you can spend a lot more money on and still have the BMW M2 outperform them. One thing that I was quite happy to see was the fact that we were able to put an anti-lag system on it. Now the minute I saw that, I knew, okay, there we go, we get to have a pops and bangs tune. I mean, who doesn't love a flame spitting vehicle? Now after adding all of the upgrades, the car produces 668 brake horsepower and a weight of 1165 kgs. But what does this actually mean out on circuit? But before we go back on track, we are gonna take a look at this car's customization. Now the wide body kit for the M2 is your generic Gran Turismo 7 wide body. They just stretched out the fenders. You receive two options for the front splitter as well as the side skirts. For the rear diffuser, you only receive one option. Now rear wing, you can go between the standard wing, wingless, the type where the standard wing is just carbon fiber, a duckbill, or a custom wing that you can tailor to your liking. You can also add on the random odds and ends like the bonnet pins, tow hook and roll cage. You know, just those small details to make your car more of a race car. I then just proceeded to be lazy and go over to a showcase, find a livery that I liked and applied it, and this is the end product that we ended up with. And frankly, I think the creator of this livery did an amazing job. So now that we have our car looking the part, let's go out on track and see how it actually handles. Immediately as I load in, I can just see from the way the car is climbing speed, it is a lot faster than standard. So I'm worried, is it actually gonna be a little bit too overpowered? So coming around the first corner, you can see I actually almost spun out. So I kept that in mind as I proceeded on with the lap, because I knew, okay, I can lose control of the vehicle. So coming into the first corner, coming at 260 something kilometers per hour. So as you can see, the car is trying to get its rear end out and I am trying to keep it in bay, which isn't actually as difficult as you would think. Now the setup that I have in the vehicle, as you can see from the way it comes off curbs, it is very hard. So that's what she said. Now with the power mods applied to the vehicle, it honestly just holds like a train. it keeps pushing, and if you are brave enough, you can take corners flat out, and that is what really impressed me, because I thought, okay, 600 brake horsepower to the rear wheels, even though these are the grippiest tires in game, this car would still spin out. But surprisingly not. The car was quite planted, quite stable, and that's what I appreciate. Now, as I said earlier in the video, it reminds me a lot of the Porsche Cayman GT4. So if you've driven that car or have experienced it, this BMW M2 is quite similar. Now, as we come out of that slow hairpin turn, the minute you go onto the accelerator, the car's back does try to walk out on you, but it is quite easy to keep in line. So that is what I appreciate about this vehicle. You don't have to fight with it or wrestle it to keep it in line. The car listens to you, and for me, those are the best cars in the game. If your inputs come across immediately to the car and the car understands and responds, then you are going to experience one of the best rides of your life. Now, yes, this may not be the fastest car, but the way this car handles and composes itself, you'd swear you're doing 1,000,000 miles per hour around every single turn. The car is honestly a blast around the circuit, and for the value for money of this vehicle, you get every single bit of the car. The car is a joy to drive, and I think the amount of power that they allowed us to get out of this engine is the perfect amount. I feel like, knowing Gran Turismo, they would want to try and take the racing V8 out of the Z4 GT3 car and put it into this car. Would that be so bad? No, because it's still gonna be incredibly fast and a whole lot of fun, but it doesn't actually need it. It's one of those vehicles that doesn't need the help. It isn't a slow old Japanese vehicle where it needs modern power to boost it up. This car, with its standard motor just fully maxed out, is more fun than you would ever need. If you haven't picked up the BMW M2 yet and you are looking for a reason why not to, there is no reason. It's 91,000. There's no excuse why you shouldn't experience it, because there's no special parts that you need. There's no engine swaps that you need for this vehicle. Go to Grand Central. If you're playing right now, or when the next time you play, go to Grand Central, spend 91,000. You don't even need to upgrade it, and trust me, you will not regret your purchase. This car is loads of fun. The only problem is with the setup that I have in this vehicle, it isn't really set up for drifting. Now, you can try and chuck it and the car will slide, but you can feel the car almost feels uncomfortable, and for that, the car doesn't want to perform well. So if you do want to try out this tune and experience what I experienced and why my point of view and why I'm saying this is the best M car, then try this tune. I'm gonna post it at the very end. But yes, this is the best M car in the game. This hands down beats the M4, the M3. I'm talking about all the generations, E30, E92, E46, every M3 in the game. This is hands down the best M car. So with all this being said, hope you guys did enjoy this video. Don't forget, leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.